Hi everyone, welcome back to our Educational Insights. I'm Carol Chen, the program host of the program. I've mentioned before that our program is like a platform for the one who enjoy education and would like to share the updates and issues with us. Especially welcome the representative from the school board or the ministry for sharing their issues and point of views. Also, we welcome whoever running the media program for raising children. So, for the past weeks, we have two guests from the school board. Is one of the trustees from Toronto School Board, and one is for the students trustee from the Toronto School Board too. And tonight we are really lucky to have another guest. Is from the York Region School Board, and also she is a chair of the trustee, Miss DianeGiangrande.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you, Carol. Much appreciated.
So, Diane, I know you're very busy. So tonight is our honor and pleasure to have you here for sharing your update.
Thank you very much. That's a pleasure.
Yeah, you are the current school board like chair of the trustee, right?
Yes, I am.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it start
Thank
from
you.
November?
December.
December. Okay.
Since December.
So, do you mind I ask you a personal question? Why do you have run the campaign as trustee?
I think anybody who looks at running for any office, when it talks to service of their community, they run because they have a passion. They care. They are doing it because they want to see that their community is well represented. I think when we look at public education, we also are looking at making sure that it is one of our cornerstones of a democratic society. And it's important for us to really believe that each child can learn and each child has that opportunity to learn. And I think what a trustee does is brings a human element from the community, and it works with as a team approach with the staff at a school board in making sure that all voices are heard. So I just think it is an opportunity for someone when they do run for this position to make a huge difference within their community. So that was my passion and reason for running for this position.
So the current term is from 2006.
Yes.
Right? Until when would be?
4 more years.
4 more years.
4 years
4
altogether.
years.
So it's 2010.
Oh, that's another challenge for you.
Yes.
Anyways, before, like, I think day by day we have a more idea about the trustee.
Right.
Before, seldom people know what the role and the responsibilities. Can you share with us about your role?
Absolutely.
And also the chair, maybe more important, right? Please.
When you're looking at a trustee and the role of a trustee, there's a number of facets. Certainly from a perspective at the board table, we approve the budget. We're in charge and responsible for policy. But we also are involved in a number of committees. Trustees work depending on what their availability is. Many work on a daytime, evenings. A lot of our committees are around focusing on student success. So we have committees dealing with race relations, environment, our special needs children. We have committees that are dealing with property, and again policy, which is a focus for trustees. So there's a great opportunity for input and dialogue, and again when I talk about teamwork, that's key because we all work together for the same end. And I think one of the biggest things to understand, and especially at York Region District School Board, is that we are all focused on one thing, and that is student achievement. And it is to make sure that we do everything we can so each child achieves to their maximum potential. And we have a very strong focus on literacy. And that component helps to move our agenda of student success forward. So trustees rally around those types of issues along with our staff.
Oh my goodness, you guys are very tough. I think one of the committee you must have is a budgeting. Do you agree? So
We
is it
do have a
one-
budget committee,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You have, because if the
All
committee
trustees
trusts
sit.
you guys to,
Absolutely.
you know, watch the implement of the budgeting,
That's
right?
right.
Do you mind that I ask a personal question regarding salary
Yes?
and allowance of a trustee? I think everybody's interested.
It's always good to know what people are making and if they're worth their salt. In the case of a trustee, it's an honorarium. So we basically receive a amount of money depending on how many constituents that we represent in our board. So every trustee, depending on what school board they're in the province, would be get a different honorarium because we all deal with a different number of students.
So how many schools right now under the York within this school?
In York Region, our trustees at present would receive $20,000 per year as an honorarium.
10,000.
A vice chair would receive $5,000 more, and the chair receives $5,000 more than that.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
So I think it's a full-time job for you.
It is totally a full-time
Oh,
job.
yeah.
Absolutely. If you know, when you take this on, you have to be available. I mean, the community expects you available. Staff needs you to be available. It's very important that you're there and involved in the process because it's an ongoing process when you're dealing with student learning.
So in you mentioned that you have so many kind of workload and responsibilities. Do you have a limited like working hour? You must attend at the school board how many hours daily, or just flexible?
It has to be totally flexible.
Oh.
I mean, if to do the job in a way that has a maximum amount of input and effect on student achievement, trustees are available and have to be available for many daytime things that come up. So, you know, many trustees, if they are available during the day, or sit on a lot of different committees, respond to parents' needs. Emails are coming in at all times, whether it be from staff or from the public, that must be responded to. As the chair, I'm expected to represent the school board at a number of functions as part of the face of the board. We have many school openings happening because we're very fortunate to be a growth board, and it's important that I am there. I'm also there in the celebration times. We have a lot of phenomenal things happening with our students and staff, and it's important to recognize, you know, whether it be our staff or students, and letting them know that we do care about their achievements. So it's important the trustees are around and available. So you could be talking to a parent first thing because of a snowstorm and whether they're getting a bus on a cold morning, and you could be going to bed with a parent on the phone saying to you at midnight, you know, how do I deal with this tomorrow morning? So again, it is about being very, very flexible and understanding to the community's needs.
So actually, how many schools is you take care of elementary as well as
That's right.
Secondary school,
Right.
right? Overall, average, how many schools under each trustee?
Do most trustees have? It would be in the mid-teens. So some trustees may have, you know, 12 schools, some may have 15, 16. Just depends on what's in their boundaries of through the election process. So it's depending on their ward setup, they take on. But I've got to admit, as a trustee to this board, you're responsible for all students. So when we look at setting policies, we're setting policies that will be equally effective for all students in the board. We're not trying to, I don't just look after Richmond Hill. I look after, yes, the concerns that come out, the immediate concerns that deal with individual situations. But when we set policy, we are setting policy to be respected by all the students within the board, and that we're respecting the needs of all students in the board. So it's bigger than just looking after your own area.
You just mentioned we are so excited because you have some new schools developing, and I think there's some new issues, current issues you'd like to share with us, right?
The pluses with our board, it's, you know, there's always some people would look at them as negatives and others as pluses. We look at everything as a plus because that is just a more positive way and a better way to view things. We are lucky, we're a growth board, therefore we do have growth in new schools coming online all the time. But it's a process that we've managed well over the years, so that when we have the students, we also have the schools. And because we have such a good process in place, we have always made sure our accommodation meets our student needs, and I think that's really key and important. We also look at some other things that are happening within our board. For instance, the Pathways initiatives. And Pathways is an initiative dealing with our secondary, but it starts at a very young age. And what it is making sure children understand and parents understand the multiple opportunities that education can provide for our students. And that means not just having one goal of the university education, but looking at all the possibilities that their child might want to engage in. There are so many career opportunities out there, and the idea is not to look at them as a hierarchy, but look at them on a continuum. There's many times in people's lives now where careers change, paths change, and there's many ways of looking at it. So what we like to do, and we like to think we're doing with our students, is make them lifelong learners, so that they are continually learning, continually growing. They're not looking just to one end. They're looking at that as another spot to continue growth within themselves.
You know what? I'm really impressed for your sharing about the pathway, because it should be. For instance, you will take care elementary to secondary. And how about the early childhood education and university? Do you have the linking? We have a connection.
Absolutely.
We have to work together.
That's
like,
right.
You know, we have to set up a kind of a pathway
Absolutely.
how to implement them. Do you mind I ask you, what is the readiness from the early child education, like the nursery, daycare to grade 1?
Right.
And what is another pathways from secondary school to university?
That's right.
Can you share with us how?
Well, yeah, and you can even look at the transition between grade 8 and high school. I mean, those are key times in a child's life, and it's very, very important for us to make sure that we are making those transitions as easy as possible, because a child changes can be difficult, and if we don't do that, we can lose the focus on the education piece, and a child can get lost. And the biggest place where we notice that is going from our elementary schools into high school. We like to think at the end of high school we've prepared them well and they're ready to go out and try new things. They're young adults, they've had a great opportunity of education within our system, and now they're moving on. And we still have things in place where they can come back and dialogue, so that they don't feel that they completely cut off from the system that they have grown up in. But certainly looking at transitioning, and the transitioning is key from elementary to high school, because what you have is you're making choices now of maybe some ideas of where you might want to go with your future. And we want children to be successful, and so we really need to be making sure we've given them some ideas and some thinking well before they hit high school of the opportunities that lie ahead.
Exactly.
So that once they get to high school, they don't feel the only path is, if I'm not working at this very high level of an academic, then I haven't succeeded. Absolutely not. Success is not measured just by our academic success. There's so many different success measures out there, and we want to make sure that kids embrace those and don't feel that's the only measure. So our high schools, we try to make them very balanced in that we can offer many different things within our high schools.
I like the word balance.
Well, it's all about balance in life, isn't it?
I remember when my son have a transition time from from the high school to university, and also from the elementary to grade 9.
Yeah.
I remember the school will offer us a very nice kind of parents' night. We are educated to pick a better school based on the character, personality of the children.
Right.
So, how about I'm interested to know, is any specific program, like from the daycare, like preschool to JK? Do you have a connection with them?
Actually, we do. We have a lot of daycares that run out of our schools, or if they're not connected, they're closely connected. And what we make sure through that process is that they do have an understanding of what the expectations, where the child's going to need to be by the time that they hit junior kindergarten. And certainly there's that focus, and then there's also having parents ready and having them have an understanding, and we try to communicate that, how important it is, any involvement they have with their children in the early years is going to do nothing but benefit them by the time they get into the school system. So, some children come out of a family home, some come out of a daycare situation, some come out of a daycare situation attached to the school. But what we try to do is branch out and make sure that they do have an understanding of what the starting piece is going to look like when they hit. So again, you're right. It's the idea of transitioning them slowly, making them feel comfortable, and then they're ready to learn. If a child feels comfortable and safe and engaged, they'll learn. But
you know, especially the academic, I just forget, because I realize that most of the Asian family, parents' expectations are that very, you know, for the new kind of early child stage, like 2-3 years old, they really push them to writing. They get readiness of reading, writing, and then, but the school board, they have different expectation, different philosophy. Right. So that's why I hope we have the balance.
Yeah, you know what? It's great to it's great for children to have a balanced lifestyle, which is what you're talking about, and what I've been kind of saying is that we have so many opportunities within the education system, whether it's a physical opportunity to be involved in things in the sports world, whether there's the artistic side of things, or whether we're looking at maybe something very technical where they're using their hands. And technology today, our kids are so advanced in, whether it be from a computer component, or whether it's even back in a tech, you know, kind of facility. It's amazing what kids are capable of. And so what we want to do is bring out a little bit of that in each child, because you know what, even when you expose kids, my children had the luxury of going to schools that had very balanced curriculum. So they had the shops, they had the culinary arts, they had the academic piece, and they certainly had the sports piece and the music. But what it did for them was there were only certain pieces that really engaged them, but they learned to respect people that engaged in different activities and excelled at them. Things that they themselves maybe wouldn't really have looked at or understood if they hadn't been exposed to it. So exposure is really key for kids, and letting them understand what it takes to be successful in all these different areas. And I think that that's a key component as kids
the whole development, right?
Absolutely.
I just wonder, like, the current kind of message from the Ontario government mentioned that, is it within 5 years, or I don't know how long it will be, the JKSK program will be accompanied to the regular program, not full-time.
Full-day,
not
yes.
Right now we have, I heard it is alternative days.
That's right.
Or half days.
Yeah.
But I look forward to seeing that. You know, do you know when will be happen?
No,
and how
we
to
don't.
implement it?
No, you know what? We're always, as soon as we hear that it would be the same as our class size reduction that happened this year, getting our classes down to classes of 20. If there's a new policy that's coming forward from the government, I mean, what we try to do is be proactive, be looking at where the opportunities are going to be, where the challenges are going to be as far as space. But always looking forward to thinking, how are we going to implement this, make this happen in a timely fashion. We always make sure that when we're working with the government that we're very respectful for the timelines that they expect out of us. So we are always making sure that staff are looking forward into the future and making sure that the York Region Board is not in a situation where it can't comply to what is expected out of us.
So up to now, you don't have any new kind of a more clear direction for running
not at this stage. Not any more than the public would have at this stage. I mean, we've heard where the ministry would like to go. We've heard election promises that they've made. So we're keeping a very close eye.
Yeah, because 4 years, very soon, 2 more years.
That's right. It goes by fast.
I hope that our dream will become true. Because most parents from the early childhood education parents, they really look forward to having full-time, then we less stress on one day daycare, one day the school, right? Anyways, I go back to the older children program. I heard it's a hot potato about IB program and give the program. The most parents, even they move their house to motivate the kids to get in. And I was told by my friends that, oh my goodness, they have written tests from IB, entrance exam, they have interview, they have reference. Why? So, only one school for IB, not more popular for the rest of the students.
Well, that's interesting. We have been looking at a number of our programs within the board, and one of the things that we've come we've had a huge dialogue on, and we're really moving fastly forward on, is our AP programs. And
Okay.
AP is Advanced Placement Programs. Again, a very high level of an academic program that comes out of the States, very similar to what we would expect out of the IB program, university level programs. But what it does, it gives a lot more flexibility for the student, the AP programs. What we are able to do with them is put them into a number of different schools. The cost isn't as great, IB program. There's cost affiliated with the IB program.
They collect money like
That's right. That's right.
1,000, like 1,500
Yes,
a year.
exactly.
Right?
And then the board pays for a portion on top of that for each student. But what the AP program does is children can focus on the things that they excel at. If they love sciences, they can take some AP programs in sciences. And if it's English isn't, then that's okay. They can take an academic English program. So it gives them the flexibility of really taking the academics to a higher level in the things they're passionate about. Leaving them time also still to be involved in band if they want to, be on sports teams. So again, it's looking at making sure that the child has a kind of a balanced lifestyle. But when we look at the IB program, there's a certain child that excels in that and needs that strong academic focus. So we're trying to give more opportunities by putting more things in place in schools that are home schools, as opposed to children having to come to programs. We're bringing the programs to the kids. And the AP program does the same, has the same testing at the end. And the testing, if you receive a level 4 within the testing process, then it's considered a university credit, and it's put on your university record. So it does give that same opportunity, but not quite as intense as what the IB is, and certainly not to the same cost of the board and to the parents. So there's some great opportunities. We're always exploring, we're always learning, and we're always growing. And that's something that I think with our board, and I feel really comfortable about saying, is that, we look at how we do in our different results, whether it's EQAO or the Fraser report, and certainly our board ranks very high. And that's, that's, for us, that's great. But that's not what it's all about. To us, it's about learning from all the types of data that we get and continuing to move forward, to continue to push the opportunities for our students. It's never sitting back and thinking about, okay, here's where we are, and sitting back and feeling comfortable. Because when you do that, then you've missed another opportunity. So we like to think we're on the forefront of always looking ahead, and again, around the whole concept of student achievement.
Yeah. I really like your wording, like balance, right? But unfortunately, the fact is happening is not that way, because based on some media advisory, they raise some school, even Toronto school overall, and Ontario, they have different rate for those schools. For instance, I highlight some 2-3 schools from your region, they're more top, and then this kind of the parents can treat it as kind of measurement for rating. Oh, this school is famous, this school is good. That's why they move the house to that school.
Absolutely.
So how to share with the public that, as a parent, we don't need to just focus on this area.
That's right.
Right? What is the measurement for the school board? You treat the schools to be equally, right?
Yep. You know what? It's Carol, you've hit on some really good stuff, because we as we go forward, we're certainly looking at perception. We really feel all of our schools are offering the same opportunities for our students. There's no doubt about it when you watch. Absolutely. If you want to excel at an academic level, those kids are excelling when they get out of our school system, no matter what school that they've been in. But we need to make sure that we are making the perceptions that are out there, we have to turn those into the realities of understanding that parents do rank schools and parents do look at things on different reports that come in. So what our job is to do is properly make sure that we are properly, whether you call it marketing, is what I guess you would look at, our schools, in that we give them the true understanding of what each school is doing, so that we start balancing out what the thinking is among parents and among our generation. Our generation is known for that. As adults, we're always looking for the best. We're always wanting to make sure our child has that leg up. But what I can tell you, what we see going on at our schools is no matter what school you're coming out of, we're seeing kids excelling when they get out into, whether it be the workplace, whether it be in, they choose to get involved in some sort of other career path, dealing with apprenticeship, whether they're decided to go into college or university. I mean, when we talk to these external external groups afterwards, what we're finding is York Region students are prepared and they're ready and they have a clear understanding of what they need to do in order to continue on in the areas that they want to pursue. So I think we just have to do a better job making sure that parents understand that, and that's a role. That again is the idea of us always looking to improve, always improving, whether it's our messaging, whether it's our communication, whether it's our student achievement. It's all part of the same system and moving forward as a united group.
Yeah. I think most of the community members realize that EQAO is one of the ways for measuring.
Right.
Evaluate the outcome of the program about academic. Are you satisfied with the outcome, the current result?
Of EQAO?
Yeah, of EQAO.
How we view EQAO is it's an opportunity for us to take a look at what we're doing. It's not measuring the students. The students get measured in many different ways, and there's many different benchmarks that we use in order to measure how students are achieving. So we keep a very good, if you went into a school today would be able to tell you where each child was and what each child needs to do to move forward. And I think that's an amazing testament to what is going on in our schools, because no child is being lost. The idea is to make sure no one slips through the cracks. But when we look at how we use the data, we have school plans for improvement, and we have system plans for improvement. So when we do see areas which do need improving and that need some extra attention, we know how to focus that in a very, very strategic way. And we have our schools, in the same note, engaging in school councils, talking to them, showing them the school plans, saying this is the way we feel we can move this school forward in these areas. And we want you parents to be part of that process, because it's about a team effort. If we can have parents engaged in the process, then it just helps bring the level, what's going up in the classrooms and what's going on in schools, that much faster and quicker, and it certainly makes the kids feel like everybody is working towards the same end in their life, and I think that's important for them. I think they need to know that parents as well as school care about where they go and how they're achieving.
Yeah. As a parent, I really enjoyed your word in balance the whole development. Okay, I just wonder, besides academic, do you have any specific program for enhancing the children have a whole development, such as character matters?
Oh, the character matters.
Kind of
promote
them, motivate them to care about the environmental issues.
Right.
So can you share with us what else program?
What we look at, we do, when you talk about character matters, our board was one of the first in Canada to implement a Character Matters program.
I really like it.
Which is, it is. It's phenomenal. And what it is now, it's embedded in how we teach and how education functions in York Region.
Sure.
It's not an add-on. Sometimes, you get something and it kind of adds on for a while and it disappears. This is totally now embedded into the way we deliver education. I had the pleasure of, a few weeks ago, being at Bayview Secondary with the Minister of Education, and it was a fascinating dialogue with students. We had 50 students come into the library, and she sat down and she talked about wanting to know about technology and how kids were using technology and was it being used in a productive way, and she was trying to get a feel for how the province could help deal with the issues around technology. The kids were amazing. The kids talked about how technology was such a wonderful part of their lives, how it had really moved forward their social opportunities, how they were learning from an educational point of view, and and the minister probed further, and she said, but what about the negatives? What about the bullying? And one of the students, which was amazing, said, you know what, that's not the key about technology. Yes, you always get children, adults, whoever in life, that choose to use things in a negative fashion. And when they do, it brings on a negative idea that that's, that technology is negative, but it's not. And one student talked very strongly, got up and said, you know what, this board has given me, since I ever remember, the whole philosophy on how character makes a difference. And what I'd like to see is that more families engage in the Character Matters initiative to really be, so we've got the whole time a child is being educated, dealing with adults, they're seeing the same message. But he was really focused on how much that had meant to him in his upbringing, but how we also got to maybe making sure as adults we're mimicking and doing the same, showing, modeling the same kind of behavior. And so I think it's done a lot. We now have character awards for the whole region that have come out of this, that I had the pleasure of going
name,
with.
right?
Absolutely.
For that,
yeah, so it's great. It's really good. And you know, what it's talking to is, even when we talk about how when children don't act appropriately, and we have the issue of bullying and things that can happen within a school, but they can happen outside of school. It's a social issue that goes on. So I think the more we bring children up to believe that this is a moral way of acting, it's a way of having a positive life,
exactly.
then what we end up doing is building on that with our whole society, because that's where it moves out to. Now they act like that when they're out when they're out on a day-to-day basis, and future when they move on out of our system.
I have been visiting different schools, and I realized the more they promote the character matters events, that school's the whole image is much better than the others. Anyways, I just wonder, do you have any student exchange program available for?
Absolutely, we have huge exchange. When I say that, only because we've had so many kids coming to the board recently with exchange programs. We have kids going to Japan. We have children that are now going to China. We have children that are engaging, obviously, in the French programs, Germany. It's fascinating to see them come back and talk about their experiences that they have been involved in. So we're always looking at expanding on those opportunities and building relationships, certainly with other, whether it be different nations or different school systems in our global community.
How do they kind of apply? How many months ahead of the
usually the year before is when you would look at, because it basically has to be set up. Students go away sometimes for up to
Which
a number
grade
of months.
they can apply?
Well, you know what, we have them going in grade 6, 7, and then we have high school, all through high school, depending on when you choose to make those exchanges happen for you and when it best balances within your your schooling.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned about you work really hard with the parents. Of course, you as a trustee supporting the parents' needs. So I just how often you visit the school, and how about the school council? Relies on the school councils.
yes.
Do you have any policy for the fundraising? Because I heard that most of the school councils, they run fundraising events. Some schools make 20,000 a year.
Right.
For day by day, I realize it's more commercial. Can you share about the policy?
Okay. Well, first, just to say, just at the very beginning, you were talking about school councils and my involvement in them. And trustees all have different involvements in their school councils. The way we have 2 school council forums a year, where school councils come together as a whole, for instance, in the central area, the west, the east, the north, and they get together and talk about different issues. And we also give them some different information on things that are happening within our board. It's also time to give them some PD, which is their own personal development on what it means to be on a school council, because some people it's their first child within the system. So, and different trustees will do different things. Some of them will choose to attend school councils on a regular basis. I personally talk to the administrators at the school, talk to the school councils at the forum and say, when you need me, let me know. If you'd like me to come to a meeting, I'm more than willing to be there. I would like to support you. I'd like to be available. But if you don't, I'm not going to be there, because sometimes I can be a distractor for the business they need to get done. So we have a really good relationship within the central schools and an understanding of my role and how I would support them. Fundraising, we have a very a fundraising policy in the board, and the policy is something that I think really talks to the school plan. So when we're looking at fundraising, the expectations out of parents in fundraising, what we're doing is we would say, look to the school plan, make sure that it's in line with it, and it's supporting student achievement again within the school. The school plans are updated every year, and usually at that time there might be an idea of, okay, we need to raise funds for these, whatever it may be. It may be something towards the math class, it may be something towards the outdoor play space, because we feel at this time this is what our school needs, which will help move the whole initiative forward on their school plan for improvement. So usually, and yes, some schools raise amazing amounts of money. We also have an opportunity for schools that can't raise the same numbers, whether it's because of the number of children that attend the school and the number of parents involved, or whether it's socioeconomic. We have a program called CARE. So if schools that raise lots of money and would like to have that money also be used in another opportunity at another school, they can certainly donate towards CARE, and then CARE will hand it out to schools that are maybe in more need of some, whatever what their mandate is, moving their school plan for continuous improvement and forward. Mm-hmm. So there are some opportunities to work together, and we like communities to work together and understand that all communities aren't created equally. And
I think from the event is be motivate the kids involved.
Yes.
For instance, I went to my son's school. I was so impressed that there's a sign up that like they have a kind of a skip from for supporting the heart stroke.
Yes, heart and stroke.
Yeah, not only the school. So that's kind of event very meaningful.
Absolutely, and it's important for kids to outreach and look to community beyond their own school community. Mm-hmm. How can they help? How can they be leaders that care about the community outside the school doors? So
they
that's a great opportunity. Absolutely.
Anyways, I hope you do mind. Is it 5 years plan? Do you have any further update plan you'd like to share with us?
5 years. You know what, Carol? We're always looking at new things. To say that there's something specific that we'll be doing. We've got schools on the books for the next 5 years that we will be in our capital strategy plan that we'll be moving forward with. We'll always be looking at new initiatives. Our staff are constantly looking at more professional development so that we can make sure that our administrators and our teachers who are right there with our kids are the best they can be with the tools they need. We're always looking at technology, improving, because basically our generation never grew up with the technology that the kids have today. So it's important for us to be keeping up with an understanding of how those rich opportunities that can happen with technology. So I think it's going to be a number of things, and we would never just focus on one thing, but it's important. But again, absolutely, but again, making sure it's dealing with literacy and student achievement. Great. So keeping that focus.
Do you mind asking? This is not a new topic, but ESL and International Language Program.
Yes.
Is it a separated budget from the regular academic budget?
We get, our money kind of comes through the province, and so we would get a certain amount of money for children that choose to enroll in our international language programs. We had the pleasure last night of honoring the teachers. We had a celebration for them last night, and I would say we had about 310 teachers out of the 350 that teach international language within our system. Many performers. We had students perform, we had teachers perform. It was phenomenal, and it was engaging to watch students, because we now don't just have students whose heritage background is from let's say if they grew up in a specific area of the world, therefore already are exposed to a certain language and culture, therefore they continue to learn and grow in that culture. We have students now, because it's international language, that are choosing that have never been involved in certain cultures and are picking up on an opportunity to learn a new culture and a new language. And we had 5 students last night get up and We had 2 students that engaged in some tongue twisters in Mandarin and had never, they were English and French students, so had never ever had that language base before. We had a student that grew up and was born in China, and he spoke Russian to us. So it was fascinating to see how it has grown and how we got to continue getting that message out, how language is so important as we move forward in understanding different cultures. So we've had some dialogue even today talking about that as I saw some senior staff that had been there and just thought it was such an amazing event, and watching the opportunities as they move forward to making sure we engage even more students in those opportunities.
I realized that the international language you just share is so wonderful. And I heard that the York Region Catholic School Board is already set up the international language available at the day school base, like every day after school program.
Right.
I just wonder, is it any updates
Kind of doing that
program?
You know, I haven't heard what's happening. I know we have a new principal, Ivy Chan, and she's going to be looking at, as she put this beautiful event last night together, realizing how it was important to make sure we were honoring our partners and our teachers that have been teaching international language. I'm sure she'll be looking at so many different opportunities moving forward on how we can again continue to deliver some of these programs so that our students have opportunities. But she'll be looking at that and many other. I mean, there's so many. When you look at the idea of language and literacy again, what another wonderful opportunity for growth within our students.
Now, be honest and share with you, because my 2 children have been the international language program since JK. But unfortunately, one of the already graduated from grade 8 is still not feel comfortable to implement like Mandarin in a regular life because it's a matter of practice.
Right. Yes.
That's why, if possible, I hope you promote to the school board think about this. Then we can maybe offer them more practice opportunities.
Yeah.
Right, so, such as
speaking.
Not only once a week.
Yeah.
2 hours once a week is not enough.
I know, it's the speaking that.
As a successful lady like you, Diane, may I share? Will you please share with us about your feelings after, as a chair of trustee of York Region School Board? Was a challenge for the succession?
You know, I look at it as an opportunity to be a member, to work as a group, and we as trustees, it's really important that we all understand each other. So I make it my business, I guess, and my day-to-day operation to make sure that all trustees are feeling engaged, they're feeling comfortable, they're feeling that we are listening to what they're having to say, and then what we're doing is we're sitting down with senior staff and making sure that they're hearing us and we're hearing them. So it's again all about a team approach. So to me, that's my focus, is making sure that all partners are at the table when we're making decisions and that we're listening to each other. And I can tell you, it is doesn't mean we're always going to agree, and it doesn't mean all trustees are always going to agree. In fact, that's healthy when we hear different points of view and we have to really think about how someone else is thinking. And so, you know, I look at now and in the future, keeping that kind of feeling that everybody should be included, everybody has a part to play, whether it be our communities, whether it be our parents, whether it be the staff or the trustees, and making sure that we don't leave anyone out of public education, because that's what this is all about. It's about the students and making sure they're achieving to the best of their ability.
Yeah, I urge everyone to enjoy public education too.
Absolutely.
Yes, meaningful. Anyways, your professionalism and leadership, I really appreciate that.
Thank
so
you.
Tonight, I'm really proud to have a Miss DianeGiangrande here, and I hope you have the best successful future.
Thank you, Carol.
And
Much
do you mind
appreciated.
to share your website or your phone number? Then the public can reach you.
The public can reach me anytime. I'm actually on the board website, so I think that would be the best place to look, which is York Region District School Board. And all you would have to do is type YRDSB in, and you will find that I'm available. All trustees are available. Phone numbers are available, and they can access us anytime. We always want to hear from the public.
You know, Diana, really rely on you because our platform needs some more update information, and someone who like you, their passion. Do you mind that I would like to have Ivy Chen? Is
Yes,
Ivy the
absolutely.
new coordinator of international language?
That's right. She's the new
I look
principal.
forward to talk with her. Then we can share the update.
Absolutely. That would be
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Thank you
She's
so
always
much for
available
coming.
too. Thank you very much.
So I hope everybody enjoy our education insights. See you next time. Thank you.